One more thing I'd like to caution my people about. You got to remember what manner of spirit or what manner of people we are. The scriptures liken us to a jackass, which is one of the most stubborn animals on the face of the earth. He likens the house of Israel as to a donkey. If you actually read and have studied the scriptures, Hebrew Israelites, quote unquote niggas, Negroes, are very hard-hearted, stiff-necked, and stubborn. They're rebellious and seditious. They go against Yahuwah. They go against his elect. They grumble. They murmur. And my purpose for making this video this morning is to caution you for following after those who profess themselves to be teachers who are actually delusional. See, you can become so suspicious of things until your common sense will flee you. You'll question even things that are known facts, like you got men out here preaching the earth is flat. And then with this coronavirus, you got some who's and that's strong spiritual delusion. Yahuwah puts that on you. As it's written in Isaiah 66:4, it's because you're so critical and you can't even receive the truth. You can't even receive sound science. You got people who have not the spirit of discernment. They don't understand that scriptures is spiritually discerned. It's written in a language. It's written in a spiritual language that requires the Ruach to discern it. There's a verse where it says the earth sits upon pillars, and you got niggas out here building up a doctrine that the earth looks like a cracked yolk of egg that sits on 5 pillars. Just pure ignorance. A 5th grader would know better than that. Yet we use technology every day, from cell phones. You have people who've been in space. It's just tons and tons of evidence that their stubborn little eyes just fail to see, so they build a doctrine up on it. And a lot of my brethren I love, and I'm not going to mention no names, but it hurts me to my heart, because when your eyes are open, you can see those who Yahuwah has stricken them with delusion because they cannot receive the truth. And so you have to be careful, because like in the days of old, when he opened up the sea before us and wrought great and terrible, fearful miracles in the earth. And then they forgot him that quick. They beady little eyes and hard hearts. And there's some men like that live in the building. I kid you not, they're the descendants of them are always critical. They got a murmuring mouth. I don't believe that really happened. They called the Messiah. They called the Messiah himself, said he was a devil, said he was possessed. Remember that. We were the ones who killed the prophets and offered up the Messiah on the tree. And when I see the brothers out here, when people make these videos and expect you to believe that the coronavirus is a hoax, it's not. That's not giving Yahuwah credit. As it's written in Proverbs 16:33, even if you roll the dice, his will is going to be done in the outcome of that dice. And when you give men too much credit, that's what happens. You become too critical of Yahuwah. And they talking, and you can hurt yourself following delusional men like that. Another brethren of mine follows, that's why he said we ought not be followers of men. The men are not supposed to. Women, that's not the same commandment for you. You are instructed to submit yourself to an elect man. That don't apply to you. You got to understand the scriptures is written to men, the Hebrew Israelite man. He commands us. That's why it says in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, it says, a man who prays or prophesies with his head covered dishonors his head. See, most of you don't know what that means. And it says a woman who prays or prophesies with her head uncovered dishonors her head. So a lot of you go to church. That's what them big ass church hats come from. And the burqas. Ain't no piece of cloth gonna protect you from the wiles of Satan. If you understood the spiritually discerned speech of the Apostle Shaul, what he said when he opened up, he said, for the head of the man is the Messiah, and the head of the woman is the man. And the head of Messiah, Yahuwah, is Yahuwah, or Elohim, God. So what he was saying is that if a man follows a camp, or he has another teacher other than the Messiah himself, he dishonors the Messiah, his head. And a woman that opens her mouth and prays or prophesies, who's not submitted to a man, dishonors her head. And that's also known as a witch. Women, the spirit ain't given to you. He only breathed into Adam. That's why it says, and God breathed. He put his hands on Adam and breathed into him of his own spirit. And man alone became a living soul. That's why the scriptures follow the descendants of Adam all the way through Israel. And the prophets come through Israel, through Isaac. If you're submitted, you will partake in that Ruach. And we're the ones who hated by the world. Why? Because they hated Yahuwah first, the Son. And as it's written in Luke 19:12-14, he gave certain men gifts. But what did the world say? We hate this man. We ain't going to have him rule over us. But you got to understand, Yahuwah the Son himself said, is it not written in your own law? I said you are gods, and you shall judge angels. One of the first things the wicked love to say is, oh, don't judge me. Who are you, nigga? Are you keeping the commandments? Yes, as best you can. You keep the commandments according to as much as you know. In your ignorance, you have excuse. But when somebody points out the truth to you and you willingly turn and sin, now it's on you. That's one of the wicked, the wicked love to throw that up in your face. Who are you to judge? And they don't understand that the elect are going to sit on thrones. We're going to judge fallen angels. Why? Because the spirit of Yahuwah is in his name and in his laws. From Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the 12 tribes, the prophets, the apostles, those are the ones, and the saints, the prayers of the saints, those are the ones that's going to be sitting on thrones, judging all, including the fallen angels. But to get back to what I was saying, before I veer too far off course, men who are too critical of common sense and the truth become delusional. And you got to understand, everything in the earth happens. Nothing can happen. Not a robin can't fall out of a tree dead without the permission of Yahuwah, who sits on the throne between the cherubim. So to somehow suggest that these wicked ones are pulling a conspiracy, come on now. Wuhan, China, they were cremating people over there. Then you got all these deaths in Italy. And then I heard somebody say black folks can't catch it. Then no sooner than that, well, I'm in Gary, and Inglewood is known to be a predominantly black city. A sister over there passed away at 60. You have to understand, these things will cause. And so beware of men who are so stubborn and stiff-necked that their eyes are closed. They're blind leaders of the blind. And beware lest you follow them and you both fall in a ditch. Because you can become so suspicious till common sense will flee you. And you'll be critical of everything. Yahuwah can wrought a miracle right before your face and you will doubt it. You'll be like, I don't believe that shit really happened. And that's a wicked and dangerous thing. And I see it in a lot of our people. They go out there making videos, teaching stuff, and unfortunately, lies spread faster than the truth. But you know what? Even that's part of his plan. Because it said that even many false prophets shall raise up amongst you, and it shall mislead many. And you have to understand that that's ordained, because even in the kingdom, he gonna let false prophets rise up from time to time, witches, just to see how many of y'all really love him. And some of y'all gonna be misled astray because your hearts really ain't with him. So you have to truly, the first thing, like I always said, you gotta know Yahuwah's name, because that's the main protection. His name is the beginning of all things. It existed before everything. The name of Yahuwah existed before everything. And all things was made through him. You can't even pray properly, or your praise don't even go up right unless you know the name of Yahuwah and quit blaspheming. Blaspheming means calling on all these other false names that ain't his. That provokes him, because it says for Yahuwah, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God, a jealous Elohim. How would you like it if your wife called on another man's name in bed with you or in the house with you? or your husband called another woman's name. Come on, man. Please, you better watch it. And y'all be so dismissive when y'all hear these things, and that's built in his commandments. The first things out of Yahuwah's mouth in Exodus chapter 20 was what? He declared his name. He said, I am Yahuwah, your God, who brought you out of the house of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. And then the third commandment, he said, for he who takes the name of Yahuwah in vain, he said he will not hold you guiltless. You better quit playing with his name. Get it. I'm declaring it to you. Rehearse it. Get it written in your heart and pray in that name. You don't even get blessed, really. Most people don't even know what a blessing is without his name. And y'all rather follow these smooth talking false pastors like T.D. Jakes and a lot of niggas who just got on Hebrew garments, but the spirit ain't with them. It's just a different mixture of leaven. They got a little bit more truth in their mouth, but they still ain't got his name, because as it's written in Matthew 18:20, the Son himself said, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst of them. If your preaching pastor still preaching by that false name of Jesus, the scriptures themselves bear records against that nigga. The Son's spirit is not in the midst of that. And most of y'all love blaspheming with that phony ass, rotten, satanic name from the pits of hell. Yeah, I said it, Jesus. And a lot of them other names. A satanic name. The scriptures told you. The Son himself in John 14:30. He said, after this, I will not speak to you much, because the wicked one comes after me and has nothing in me. And then 2 Corinthians 11:14, he said, don't be surprised. Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. So don't trip when his ministers are made to look like an angel of light. Come on now. Y'all ain't even trying to listen. It's because you done received an imposter and you love that imposter. Your heart is with him. And you can't say you ain't been warned. You've been warned and you've been warned, but you've been filled with that old wine and you love that lying ass name.